So I think what we can expect is a period of consultation, a lot of iteration, but certainly not a period when we're going to see a lot of output from either body. Welcome to Harveywetdog. First of all, just got to say how disappointed I am that we won't be going to Cirencester this weekend. Unfortunately, the weather has beaten us there. It has felt for a couple of days that was going to be the case. But I wanted to say a little bit more about social license and just get up to date with the blogs that I've written this week on the subject. Early in the week, in fact, I got an email from Winnie Murphy at BEF telling me that they had now, excuse me, that's Boris down here scratching, that they had responded on they had made an output on social license and some output from the working group, and this came in the form of the Charter for the Horse. And I think you'll all have seen the poster and the commitment that people are asked to make to equine welfare. Now, I've got to be honest, it represents 15 months' work. And when I first saw it, I thought, well, that doesn't seem a lot for 15 months. In fact, I was sort of looking, well, where's the report to back this up? And I think you'll realise now that there isn't a report. The poster is the only output at the moment. He's decided to have a drink. Never work with children and animals. So where was I? Yes, British Equestrian have issued their Charter for the Horse, and that mustn't be confused with the FEI and their Good Life for Horses initiative. Now, as I said, I was really expecting more. I was expecting some sort of report, and as it turns out, what the British Equestrian Working Group have decided is to take the recommendations from the FEI Equine Welfare Commission, and they are working those into the British Equestrian Rulebook, as it turns out. Now, obviously, that's going to require a tremendous amount of consultation, and so we have to wait for that work to be completed. But I do think that's probably the most significant thing that we heard this week. I think that's a good thing. I think both parties, FEI and BEF, are looking to make this case for the ethical inclusion of horses within equine sport. I suppose what is disappointing is that we've now got to wait until 2025 before we see any output from BEF. I know the same applies to FEI. They are now also looking to develop their way forward, a plan to take the recommendations forward. So I think what we can expect is a period of consultation, a lot of iteration, but certainly not a period when we're going to see a lot of output from either body. All things considered, I think you can see why people might choose to keep their powder dry until after the Olympic Games in Paris 2024. Clearly, if anything goes amiss from an equestrian point of view at those games, you're in a far better position if you can say, well, we've got this in hand and you'll see action from us next year, than if you just put out a lot of supposed improvements and yet things still go awry. So I think that is understandable. Obviously, we all hope that the equestrian sports at Paris 2024 will be successful, but that's not guaranteed, and you can see why the governing bodies might choose to put off any action until after the games are completed. If anything needs adjusting, they can do that. If they'd already put out a lot of improvements then, or implemented those recommendations, they probably would have given themselves a much bigger task. So I've issued 2 blogs this week, one merely reporting the BEF press release and the Charter for the Horse, and a second one which takes a slightly more cynical view of where we are and questions, when are we going to see some real solid action to address the question of social license. So thank you for watching Harveywetdog. Thank you for the support to the channel. Sorry that we won't be getting any output from Cirencester for another month. And let's get this into a short and see you next time. Bye.